You see that Goliath looks upon you with sympathy, like he has the same problem. The beautiful elf tells you that her name is Lurvana. And that's a bizarre sentence, because the first half of it is broken draconic, and then her name is this silky, smooth, and musical elven name. The Goliath she introduces as Branch Lord. She says that Branch Lord is the princess's dragon slayer.
Ah, Dragon Slayer, huh?
Branch Lord nods once. And he is...
takes...
You can see Branch Lord has been feasting all night. There are like several discarded turkey legs laying around, half-eaten pastries, many, many empty goblets sitting around that servants once in a while will carry away and bring him fresh mead. And Birdie does what?
Steps away from the Dragon Slayer.
You would try to, but Lurvana stands in your path, and you bump into her. And she begins having a conversation in Draconic about how terrible and large, but also dangerous and exciting that dragons and dragonkind are. And doesn't Branch Lord agree? How are you guys reacting to being talked up this way? Besides Birdie trying to scamper away.
Now Birdie's just confused. Just looks up at Adrex. Birdie is incredibly confused now.
And confused is kind of Adrex's baseline.
Yeah.
I'm like Adrex level confused here.
Have you slayed many dragons?
And Branch Lord nods once, and then he says, 6 in my day.
6 dragons? Probably little baby things, right? You know, little younglings, right?
He nods. He tells you that 4 of them were, that it's best to exterminate them before they grow up.
Well. Yeah, that's... Whew. Ha. And have you your partners in crime? Is that what's going on here? The two of you? You kill dragons together? Is that it?
To which Lurvana responds, oh, goodness, no, my interest in these creatures is purely academic.
Academic? Academic how so?
She says there's a great many uses that a dragon carcass might be put to.
Three days ago, I'm sitting there holding Warren's gun. I'm hearing about things that my carcass can be used against. This is great.
Birdie immediately thought about necrophilia. Like, that's just the vibe he's getting from this woman. Like, he doesn't say this, but like that's immediately what flashed through his head.
Wow, that's
Adrex has always wanted to be useful.
Carcasses. That's you don't say.
She starts describing the various parts of a dragon and what they might be used for, what you can do with the scales properly treated, what the gizzard can accomplish if done in a particular ritual. And you can see everything. This is incredibly interesting to her, but Branch Lord does not give a fig about anything she's saying.
Adrex covers Wendy's or Birdie's ears.
Okay.
Like, you don't need to hear this. So
Birdie looks up at Adrex and swats his hands away.
Branch Lord sees this happening and looks the two of you over. And then he just shakes his head once and says, you need not worry. You are not proper dragons.
Oh. Now hang on. What do you mean by that?
He tells you that dragons, a proper dragon, one in need of slaying at least, can spew forth vile energy from its mouth, whether it be flames or acid or poisonous gas.
Birdie immediately gets very, 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 very upset and like immediately stops Adrex from doing what I'm pretty sure he's thinking about doing.
How do you do that?
Like,
Because yes, you're right.
he just kind of gives a cutting motion underneath his neck, like the cut it. No. Just kind of a chopping motion. It's like,
Adrex,
no.
what's next?
Adrex crosses his arms in his pouting motion. I would never think about doing such a thing in such a place like this. We are invited guests.
And Lurvana, you hear her hands once again. Are you saying that you can, darling? That you can breathe flames from your throat, such as a dragon might?
No, I cannot breathe flames. That's ridiculous.
And you see she's a little disappointed. And it hurts you to disappoint such a beautiful woman.
I bet it does.
Birdie lets out like a whew. Eyeball. As he eyes the giant tree monster that likes to squish dragons.
Lurvana then changes the subject, perhaps having left Birdie squirm enough to her delight. She says, and Branchlord, in addition to being the court's dragon slayer, is also the princess's most skilled jester. Is that not correct, my lord? Branchlord just looks at the ground very dourly.
The court jester.
And
You tell
Lurvana,
jokes?
looking at Branchlord and asking that, you would be surprised if this man's ever told a joke in his life.
Yeah, that's why Adrex is asking it.
And Lurvana regales you with the stories of how easily Branchlord can turn the princess's mood, and how he always brightens her and cheers her and leaves her in fits of giddy laughter. Which is why Branchlord has been required to be at court for 5 days while the party has been going on.
Party's been going on 5 days. Oh goodness. And Adrex puts 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay. I don't want to say sorry, but yeah, that's a long time. 5 days. And you make her laugh, huh?
And Branchlord responds that his exploits with the dragons bring him great pride. His exploits with the princess bring him great shame. Lurvana thinks that's very, very funny.
Birdie raises his hands. So, what did you do with the princess?
Lurvana answers for him. Says he doesn't have to do anything. Merely any words from his lips cause her to enjoy a fit of hysterics. And the look on Branchlord's face tells you that this is true.
Birdie looks up at Adrex and says, "Does he have a lisp?"
Adrex is looking at the princess.
The princess is regarding most of the room. Make an insight check at disadvantage, because you're looking from way across the room and you can't hear. You're only seeing her.
Come on, 220s.
That would be ridiculous. It's a 9.
A 9? Yeah, the princess is here, but her mood looks just as you left it. She's sitting cross-legged on the throne. She looks very impatient and anxious, and she's thrumming her scepter.
And she's a sprite, right? Or a fairy?
She's an elf.
She's an elf.
Yeah.
She's an elf.
Well, she's an elf with dandelion petals instead of hair.
Huh. Okay.
Chia elf.
Sorry,
Right.
and what was Birdie saying?
Birdie asked, what was the gentleman's name?
Branchlord?
Branchlord. Birdie asked Branchlord, do you know who told the princess we were coming?
Branchlord tells you that it's not his place to question the princess. And Lurvana reiterates that with a kind of sing-songy tone. Like, yes, why would anybody want to question the princess? What else do you guys have for Lurvana or Branchlord?
I mean, there's a cold breath wedding with their name on it, but it's probably a really bad idea.
Well,
You are a ranger. I take it.
Who are you asking?
Lurvana.
She shakes her head slightly, and she says, perhaps in another lifetime.
In another lifetime, you've a pair of blades on you.
She nods.
You hunt dragons.
Well, she doesn't hunt dragons. No. Goodness me.
Yes, that's right. You're the intellectual of the two of you. How could I forget? That's a shame because I too am a ranger. And he looks at Lurvana, judging her response. If she does one.
She asks Adrex what else he believes that the two of them have in common.
I don't know. That's why we're making small talk.
And as this conversation wears on, Adrex, you realize that there's a good chance Lurvana's never slept with a Dragonborn, but she would be very, very into it.
You guys couldn't hear it because I was muted, but I was chanting, "Bang that elf! Bang that elf!"
And if the conversation goes that way, is that where you're steering it?
Yeah. Sure.
Then eventually you guys drift away from Branchlord as the two of you flirt with one another.
Don't get any trouble. Don't get any trouble, Birdie.
Birdie
Oh, no.
lifts his hand up. No.
She asks if your little friend would like to come along.
Nah, there's no need for that.
Then eventually she squirrels you out of one of the side doors, and you spend the night with an elf. And Birdie, you are left all alone with Branchlord. Red.
Adrex is the worst wingman.
Yeah, completely.
Red, you kind of orbit the room a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to pick up snippets of anything interesting, trying to determine where to focus your direction. And you hear a language in the room that you haven't heard yet. You hear the tongue of giants being spoken. It's a dialect you're not sure you're familiar with. But that's the first thing that piques your interest. The second thing is that you're pretty sure they're talking about events that happen outside of the palace lands. It's two people having a conversation. One of them is one of these elven dandies, this impossibly wealthy and very largely like adorned with great colors and like peacock feathers and things. The mask that he's wearing looks like the mask of a frost giant. Stony white flesh and a big beard. It's not real hair, obviously. It looks like it's made out of plaster or something. But he's speaking giant with a small green flying creature. A little smaller than maybe Birdie's size, but it's not a kobold. It looks like an imp or a gremlin. The two of them are conversing in the giant tongue about this elf's particular holdings outside of the palace lands. And that's what you pick up as you're wandering by.
I think I'll try and inject myself into the conversation then.
Okay, how so?
Oh, we were just outside the Paladin Giant. We were just outside the palace not hours ago. Was there anything we might have missed on the way in?
Is there anything we might have missed on the land? Is that what you said?
On the way in.
On the way in. You're asking that in giant?
Mm-hmm.
You startle the two of them. And the elven man, do you speak elven?
Yeah, no.
Just Sylvan. He responds to you first in elven, and then in Sylvan, expressing his astonishment that anyone else here speaks the language of the giant folk. He introduces himself as Severus, and offers you his hand.
I'll shake it.
And after you shake it, I mean, when he comes back, he kind of picks a napkin up off the table and very daintily cleans his hand, having touched the riffraff. And he says, by all means, have a seat. And he asks if you would enjoy a drink. None of this dandelion swill. He had a special vintage brought in.
It messes with my head too much.
You can tell that the elf is very interested to enter this conversation, but this gremlin creature just looks extremely anxious. He doesn't like you being here one bit.
Mm-hmm.
Severus tells you that he was discussing a business venture with his partner here that is being put into place in the halls of a stone giant structure. You're familiar with stone giants, yes?
My reputation.
He asks what you know of them.
They're known for making great stonework and for being very capricious, at least where I come from.
Where is it that you come from?
Oh, just, a part of the mortal world.
At this, the gremlin begins to speak, but Severus holds his hand up and shushes him. He asks you how recently you were there.
It's hard to keep track of days in this land, but by my understanding, probably 6, maybe 5. Oh, do you mean the Giants' land or the mortal realm?
He's asking how... Well, you can take it however you want to take it. He's asking how long it's been since you were in your mortal plane.
I think 6 days, probably.
So I'm going to ask you some questions now that you're going to have to answer on the fly with no preparation time.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the mountain ranges on this map do the stone giants you know of live in? And how recently were you in those mountains?
Red doesn't know anything about stone giants per se. He only knows about them through reputation working with hill giants.
Okay.
And that would be up in here.
Oh, very close to this Fey crossing.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead
he
and
understands
draw
from what he's learned from them, there might be stone giants elsewhere higher up in these mountain ranges, but he's never actually encountered them.
And what's the name of those mountains?
Let's go with the Titan's Spine.
The Titan's Spine. And you see his eyes light up with great interest as you tell him you've heard rumors of these hill giants working with stone giants in the Titan's Spine. And now I have to go to fantasynamegenerator.com.
Was I supposed to put something on the map?
Yeah, just go ahead and write that in. That way I'll remember to update the map when I come back. I actually have a giant character that I was going to introduce later, but we're going to introduce him a little bit early.
It's Jeff the Giant.
Jeff the Giant. Dropping the name of the Titan's spine. You can see he recognizes the name. And then he asks you if you ever crossed paths with the bitch lord Taglith.
Can't say I have.
He tells you that Taglith is an extraordinarily ill-tempered hill giant. And what he was just discussing with his business partner here was whether or not the bitch lord is going to be a problem. Whether or not he needs to be removed from his throne in order to clear the way for further profit to be made in the region. And he says that he just might be in the market for a mortal partner on the other side of the veil to oversee things for him. Make an insight check. You're a Yuan-ti. Anything that sounds too good to be true probably is.
Also, that's an insight of 26.
Yeah, I saw the 20, so 26. Nobody gets to be this rich making deals or offering things to people they have literally just met.
Yep.
There's something else behind this. And he
But
spends...
I'm going to go along with it to try and see what I can peek out of the conversation without actually agreeing to anything.
What specific information about these mountains or this giant are you trying to tease out of him?
I'm trying to figure out what the giant specifically, like, what do I want to say here? Like, what kind of an area they control, and, you know, I'm assuming they just assert their control by being a hill giant, just being the biggest and meanest hill giant in the area, but if there's anything other than that, like shamans or anything like that, alliances with more powerful stone giants, just basically the political lay of the land.
Okay. The stone giants don't have surface kingdoms,
Yep.
which is something anybody familiar with stone giants kind of knows. They all dwell deep inside the mountains, sometimes even as deep as the Underdark itself. These hill giants, a lot of times, they're used just to kind of patrol and scour the lands above. And stone giants, rather than enter an alliance with them, they just find that to be helpful in some cases. Having these hill giants kind of patrol their lands on the surface without really having to do much in the way of giving them anything for it. Hill giants are really too stupid to have a political alliance. What you learn is that this man Severus and his little gremlin, the little gremlin, first of all, was in the service to these stone giants. He's a traitor. He's been coming back to the court, delivering information, and this business relationship you take to mean is going to be a burglary. And the question is Taglith going to be a problem?
And he's stealing from the stone giants.
That's his plan. They have some kind of vast control of wealth that he wants to get his hands on. And right now he's just dealing with this gremlin, but it kind of looks like he wants another fall guy.
Okay. But yeah, I'm just going to talk him up without agreeing to anything. Just get information.
I'm going to save this map real quick so I don't forget to upgrade that. Oops. Here we go.
It is now a point of interest.
Oh, a POI.
There we go.
Is that another TLA, Nodal?
Yes. Oh God.
And then I'll put the palace back up.
You know, it's a friggin' nightmare when you
Yeah.
start realizing that you know acronyms that you don't know what it means.
Yeah. I assume, given the two spheres you work in, it's even worse for you.
Oh my God.
So, the question is broached then by Severus. about what you would consider to be fair compensation if you were to begin working in alignment with his interests on the other end. Provided, of course, the princess lets you out. And that's exactly how he puts it.
I believe in a situation like this, it's really the person, and I'm assuming, who exactly do you intend to go into the spine? Because my understanding with this sort of agreement is usually the person putting themselves in the most risk, they get, 60-40 take? Unless there are extenuating circumstances?
And then, in this point, he tells you that his business partner, whose name he finally reveals is Grimscour.
Mm-hmm.
That's
not
not
the gremlin?
Yeah, that's not from Fantasy Name. That's from the module I'm using. Grimscour.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote that down.
Whatever, you said it.
I did. Although now that I say it, I kind of like it a little bit more.
No, it's good. I like it.
Good gremlin.
Gremlins
name.
aren't complicated.
He tells you that a split of the take would have to be negotiated once he actually knows what the what fruit this business proposition would reveal. However, anybody on the other end who's willing to see to this tagless situation, he says he does not have any interest in the wealth accumulated by the hill giants, or even wealth gifted to them by the stone giants, which you know to be a lie. Stone giants would never do that. But what he's offering you is take care of this hill giant. You can have everything the hill giants had. I won't ask for any of that, and then we'll discuss payment beyond that after other things are underway. That's his first offer.
I mean, and I might be a little brittle from the prime, but my understanding is if you kill something, you generally get to take its stuff without making any extra agreements. So I'm not really sure how this would be equitable to anyone engaging this hill giant.
And he says, speaking academically, first we would have to be aware of whether you're capable of taking on the bitch lord or not. And he doesn't mean to cause offense, but he does have reservations about whether you're capable of that.
Well, I mean, it's not unreasonable, but I'm not exactly here to slay giants for your amusement and as in some sort of first job interview.
He shrugs, tells you that that's too bad, because what Grimscour has delightfully informed me tonight. This whole conversation is taking place in the giant tongue, by the way.
Yeah.
Which tells you immediately he doesn't want anybody else to overhear what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He tells you that Grimscour believes he has found a method by which to very easily slay certain giants. That's what he's come here to report. And you can see that Grimscour doesn't like that he's sharing this information with you. If you were the one for the job and you were to be given this advance payment in the form of this weaponry and undertake the task, I'm sure that great things could be done and built on the foundation of this partnership.
I mean, my understanding is they die if you sever this jugular, pointing to my neck, just like nearly anything else. Just sort of shrugs.
Make a strength intimidation check.
Sure. Be a 4.
A 4? At
Stealth
this point,
intimidation.
he reaches up with his hand and removes his mask, and he reveals just this very foppish elven face. And he cocks his head to one side so that his neck lays bare to you. He says that I, too, would die if you were to sever the vein along my neck. Would you be foolish enough to try it?
Hardly.
And he nods in acceptance, replaces his mask. He tells you, and so it is with giants. Every mouse would like to put a bell on the cat, but they are still a mouse.
Oh, the conversation always turns to who's going to put the bell on the cat.
And he leans forward and he says, under his breath, but loud enough that his partner can hear him, he says, "Certainly not Grimscout." This gremlin is furious right now. So what kind of accord do you reach with Severus?
I'm not going to make any agreements with him. I'll just sort of thank him for his time, the offer of the drink, and make my way through the crowd.
And he does tell you that whatever you decide, if the princess releases you from servitude, to seek him out. And we may discuss this further. Everybody but Adrex, because Adrex no longer has the opportunity. Because he's over in the elven shaggin' wagon.
Getting his freak on.
Anybody else partaking of the meal here?
No.
Nope. Everybody's gonna go to bed hungry.
They don't at any point like have us all sit down to eat, right? It's always just like pick at the hors d'oeuvres the table.
Exactly. It wasn't that kind. I mean, the food is more substantial than just hors d'oeuvres. There's actually entrees and things laid out, but this was never a big sit down banquet.
In that case, no.
Okay. Then shortly after you guys wrap up all your conversations, the princess stands. And very daintily, she thanks all of her guests for coming to celebrate her birthday with her. And that she has great and deep feelings of love for all of them. But alas, the final song has been played and the time has now come to retire. And she invites those guests that would be staying with her to return to their chambers this time. And the ones that will be leaving, she walks out into the crowd to say their farewells to them. And the party begins to disperse. Anybody getting up in any trouble tonight besides Adrex? They do have quarters for all of you. You have separate rooms. And it not necessarily close to each other. You guys are just kind of put up willy-nilly wherever they have space for you. The rooms are small but very comfortable, very well furnished, and you want for nothing. They can bring you food, drink, pleasures of the flesh, whatever it is that you may require. Adrex is already having some of that. Mm-hmm. Anybody doing anything other than getting a good night's sleep?
No, Raazu is just gonna break out hardtack and munch on that before bed.
Okay.
Yeah, likewise.
I'm just gonna meet with the other people and tell them the stuff that I picked up.
Okay.
Kind of share the information around.
You guys will have a chance. Everybody but Adrex will have a chance to do that. Well, I mean, Birdie was standing next to Adrex. Everything he learned. So.
Raazu will elaborate on the conversation she had with Bellataka.
Did anyone learn what the years are?
Nope. Didn't get a chance to.
And I'll let you guys know about the elf planning the raid on the stone giant and hill giant.
Well, I mean, doesn't really seem to be any business of ours. I mean, where's the profit in it? I mean, I don't know how much coin something like that would have. And besides, it's a giant. It's very large. It's very loud.
All right, to be clear here, though, was his actual title that? Because it is a hill giant.
It might be. Hill giants aren't known for being refined. I would say it's more likely than not.
So you guys discuss these things and share information, then retire back to your quarters?
Yeah.
Yep.
The next morning, Adrex, by the time you wake up, Lurvan is already gone. And you got very little sleep last night. It was a wonderful night. I kind of wish she was a succubus now, so I can have that story to tell again. But no, she was just an elf. But no, she's gone by the time you wake. and there's a small fold of paper. She's left a note. Sitting on the... There's not like an end table. It's sitting on the floor next to the bed the two of you were sharing.
And what's on the note? Pray tell.
You open it up.
Yeah.
Make a wisdom saving throw. I'm sorry, I keep saying wisdom. A charisma saving throw.
It's the philosopher's legacy. Like she stole the philosopher's legacy there.
No. I want to
What's
try
that?
again.
It's explosive runes.
That's even worse. All right. I got a 11.
There's nothing written on the parchment, but it's been scented. It folds up like a small quantity of some kind of crushed up herbs or flowers, and it smells very sweetly of her. And you immediately clasp this note back together and fold it tightly. And you are charmed by her.
How does... Okay.
You cannot attack Lurvana or target her with harmful effects. She has advantage on all social checks against you, and while you are charmed, you cannot bear to be parted from this note. And you are viciously jealous that everybody's going to take it from you.
Ugh. My note. And no one can have it.
Servants come to your rooms and tell you that the princess requires you all for breakfast. Birdie, you're not sure what she means by that.
Oh. Birdie inquires if they're serving pie.
And you're told that they will have a large spread of mostly fruits and grains, sweetened milk. Very notably, no meat is being served at breakfast.
Okay.
You're directed to a smaller dining chamber than the one that you feasted in last night, where a small table has been set with 6 places. And when you arrive, the princess is already waiting there, and she looks in a much better mood today than yesterday. She stands up when you arrive, and she's wearing long, flowing yellow robes that drag along for 6 or 7 feet behind her. She clasps her hands together, and in common she greets you and says, "Honored guests, thank you for doing me the pleasure of breaking fast with me. Please, come, sit. We have much to discuss."
Raazu has a seat.
Okay.
Says,
Yep.
If I may say, you seem in a much better mood today than you did last night.
She says, "My darling, I'm always in a good mood."
That checks out.
Yeah, Raazu lets that slide.
And she invites you, "Please, eat. Take as much as you'd like. You have a long day ahead of you."
We do.
Well, if it'll be a favor for you, then.
Yeah, no, Red. I mean, but whatever might happen if you're being turned into the food for the next meal, Red will go ahead and fill up his plate.
Okay. Is anybody not eating?
Well, if everybody else is doing it, Birdie will do it too.
Yeah, Raazu.
Adrex is eating like he hasn't eaten in 4 days.
I mean, the food is delicious. I mean, there's very heavy sweet syrups to put over everything. There's fresh fruit, nuts, and grains. There's all manners of freshly baked, still warm bread. There's sweet butter and honey set out. And I need a Constitution saving throw from everybody.
Extremely rude, Brickroad.
Yeah.
Is this against magic or a magical effect?
Nope.
Sorry, it's a very broad racial feature. Be an 8.
Is this? I have
You're
a class-
looking for a 10. Did anybody beat a 10?
Birdie beat it.
Adrex got a 23.
So
Is this a disease?
it is not. So it looks like Red,
It's a 9.
Windy, and Raazu. Red,
Yep.
roll a d20. Okay. So how big of a dick should I be here? Because this could be really funny.
I mean, always err on the side of hilarity, I think.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Destil. Are you still here?
Yeah, no, I'm still here.
Thinking about how
That's
I
the
want.
last anyone ever heard of Brick Road.
Because that 17
Yeah,
offers a
that's
lot
true.
of interesting possibilities.
Well,
Okay.
Brick Road. Oh, I was gonna say, we on a scale of
There
1
we
to
go.
10, you always-
Sorry.
Who wants the opportunity to screw Destil over?
I'll do it.
Yeah,
No?
I can hear now.
We can hear you. You're still here.
I'll do
No,
it. if
I know
need
you.
to
I
do that
accidentally hit
solo.
the mute button.
Oh. Nodal, you want to do it?
I'll do it.
What is a semi-common word? Like some examples that this module gives are words like bottle, laundry, coils, things that you might hear once in a while, but not like every single conversation.
Snake.
Snake? That's particularly good. Okay, here's the trait that you gain.
Mhm.
I'm going to post this in the Flumph Party chat. It's called brain leaking.
Well, that sounds fun.
A semi-common word, in this case, snake, becomes cursed for you. Every time you hear the word snake, you are afflicted by hideous laughter, as per the spell. You can make a wisdom save DC 10 to end the effect. So if anybody says
And
snake
that's-
and you hear it, your brain is now leaking.
And that's okay. I automatically fail the initial save, right?
Yes, and then you can...
Okay.
And each round thereafter, you can...
Yep.
Raazu, you failed too. Why don't you roll a d20?
Sure. Let's see here. This will be exciting. 6.
Glittered freckles!
Yay!
Your face is dotted by distinctive reflective spots.
Does that shine through her fur?
It does. Who else failed?
I'm tossing it out.
All
Don't
right.
worry. Want me to roll this at advantage? 9.
9. Frightfully fair. Your skin and hair, or in this case your feathers, lighten until it is the color of freshly fallen snow.
That's rad.
And these effects begin to take place over the course of the meal as ingesting this food from the Feywild takes hold. And the princess goes about giving you your first task. What were you saying, Mr.
Every now and then you see Adrex pull out this piece of paper and just sniff it, and then put it away, looking very pleased with himself.
She tells you... Well, first she asks, because she's dreadfully sorry. She's never been to the realms of mortals. She's not very knowledgeable about the types of creatures that you are all familiar with. But surely in your times in the mortal realms, you've crossed paths before with gnomes.
Birdie hisses.
Oh, good, you're familiar with them. And then she begins speaking to you in the gnomish tongue, expecting you to understand what she's saying.
Birdie shakes his head no.
And then you see you're starting to make her angry, and she repeats the same question in gnomish, but more clearly this time.
Slowly.
Birdie shakes his head. He says, "I don't understand Gnomish."
Then she reverts to common. She says, "A pity. No matter. I believe Friendimus also speaks Sylvan, which some of you are familiar with."
Uh-oh.
We just lost someone. Was anybody important?
Probably not.
Looks like it was Treble.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Can
Bye.
you still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're
he's
fine.
gone from the table.
We've got you.
Yeah.
She tells you that Friendimus Tactalo is her cobbler, and that she's commissioned a pair of beautiful sandals. They were meant to be delivered to her for her birthday, but she has not yet received them. And she says your first task will be to go to Friendimus's shop and find out what the holdup is. And she looks around at all of you, and this task is not beyond your abilities, is it?
No, I don't suppose not. I suppose not.
Excellent.
I mean-
Glad to hear it. I'm so very happy. And how early can you leave?
I believe we could pack up our gear and leave right after breakfast. No one has any outstanding things here. Look across the group.
Beautiful. Just one last small, very small. She holds her fingers up like a half an inch apart. There wouldn't be any dream between the 5 of you of running off and leaving my service, would there? I can place my full trust and faith in you, correct?
No.
Correct.
So, no, of course not. Come on, you-
She says good.
We heard you, Destil.
But you can see her facade is beginning to crack with Birdie's inability to speak Gnomish. She says that under your plates, you will each find a small strip of cloth. And upon it is printed a word. And she says that she tried to tailor the words to your various speciation. She hopes that the text is something you can read. And lifting your plate, you each do see a small strip of cloth folded up underneath it.
Okay.
She tells you that
You
a
know what
word...
we were going to say.
A word has been printed on the other side of the cloth, has been sewn into it, and she needs you to tie the cloth around your wrist and then speak the word while sitting in her presence. So Birdie and Adrex, yours is written in Draconic, Wendy's is written in Aarakocra, etc.
This is player knowledge versus character. Okay.
So wait, is mine written in Abyssal?
It's written in the tongue of the Yuan-ti.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Can we, like, is the word legible?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, Draconic is not an absolutely unknowable language for Sylvan types. Abyssal is a taller order, but they know Yuan-ti as well.
All right. Adrex wastes no time. Wraps it around his. Should wrap around wrist. Say the word.
Okay.
Presence.
What's the word?
What's the word?
A word in Draconic that doesn't have a straight across translation, which tells you it's probably just a magic word.
Yeah. All right.
Notably, though, Adrex and Birdie's words are different. They do not have the same word. And she is delighted as you all go around the table and bind yourself into her service. She tells you that your days of tromping around in that nasty old wood are over. Because Friendemis's shop and the other tasks that she has set about, she intends to send you out into the hedge. It's a much nicer place. My citizens there are much friendlier. You're very less likely to be entrapped by, say, pixie magic.
Raazu takes a deep breath and says, "Yeah, thank you."
And then for the rest of the meal, she just goes back to having small talk, which is all kind of about her a little bit. Like, how beautiful do you think she is? How wonderful did you find her party last night? Isn't her palace so brightly kept? Unless you guys have any other information you're trying to get out of Princess Dandelion.
I don't think Birdie's going to speak in her presence if he can ever help it ever again.
Birdie
We're
doesn't know.
all playing Keelian right now.
Oh, Killian would be a delight here.
Yeah. But I'm playing Adrex, which means Adrex loves every moment of this. We are in a elf princess's castle, and he just got laid last night and is infatuated with another elf.
And they're serving really excellent wine at breakfasts.
Oh, how great is that?
He's like,
Like
Wendy,
Adrex is on his 19th elven pancake.
It's like, Wendy, you need to hug more crazy fae goddesses.
I'm just saying, Wendy came here, decided that the fastest way was to just get through it, had breakfast, and then turned very pretty. So honestly, her way seems to be working out pretty well.
So the only one of you who has a fae trait with a mechanical side to it is Red, and you've marked down what happens?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I've got that marked in my notes as well. After breakfast, she calls forward her centaur manservant, who explains that the palace does not have a back. Instead, it has two fronts, and each one faces... each one faces a different realm of the Feywild. The entrance he's taking you to now, which looks identical to the one you entered in last night, save for there's no carpeting on the ground. There's no rushes that haven't been laid down. And the door, instead of opening out into the dark forest, opens up into a twilit world
Of hexes.
of an endless,
Oh god, it's worse.
hedge maze. And the centaur, as you all have gathered your gear, you've eaten your fill, and you're about to set out to find the shop of Friendimus Tactalo. He tells you, and do be quick about it. And then the door closes behind you.
Do be quick about it.
And then the door opens. I heard that! And then it closes again.
Damn it! So when this first happened, like when we started realizing what was going on, I thought to myself, oh, I see, Brick planned this whole thing just so he could take message away from Destil. But now looking at this hedge maze, I suddenly have suspicions as to what ability he was trying to take away.
So we'll call it there for the week. I don't have any XP to add up, but I'm going to go dark for a few minutes, because, like I said, we're level 5 now, so I'm actually going to, now that we've kind of crystallized the characters a little bit, everybody has a good idea on where we're going with them, I'm going to go ahead and award some blips on my own while you guys discuss where you're going. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put up a straw poll first.
That sounds like a good idea.
I need to go with my character.
And then next week, welcome to the Feywild.
Somehow I feel deep down in my bones that we should all probably hate Destil for this.
Nah.
You weren't here for Pandemonium.
Yeah.
No, you weren't.
This is less
nothing.
bad than Pandemonium.
This is. Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkably similar to Pandemonium, which I did on purpose. nice narrow hallways and things. All right,
I mean,
What highlights did you get this pick out of, Brick?
did I what?
What highlights magazine did you get this out of?
Well, you don't subscribe? I'm gonna mute myself. The straw poll link is in the chat. If you guys, if somebody could just confirm they saw, because my internet went out a couple times on my
It did.
laptop. Okay, good.
I see it.
So go ahead and vote on the straw poll for who wants going to get an extra blip this session. While I read down the list and I award some of my own.
like
Everyone look over at the hedge maze and determine how many colors do you have to color it in such that no two are...
So who
I'm just saying,
who furthered the party's goals today?
Elven pancakes are way more awesome than like Pandemonium pancakes.
I feel like Raazu was the least affected by the
Raazu
opening
was the-
scene.
Yeah, Raazu was the first
Initial.
one not to fall for that bullshit. So
Okay.
definitely
Who
a
was the
party
most
goal.
creative?
I mean, I came up with the idea of the sled, which would have made that floor way better.
It was a pretty good sled.
Yeah.
Do you have anything for us, McDohl, before we...
I kind of like I like Wendy going into the back room to speak with the Moakton to try and figure out what the hell is Princess Dandelion in this fortress. This is weird.
I want to give it for the sled because I have something that I wanna shoot for
All right.
myself.
Alright, then.
Alright, okay.
So who's the badass?
Not Birdie, because he.
Only one of us slept with an elf last night.
Adrex did get laid.
Yeah,
Adrex
that's
did
true.
get laid. And by our, mentality.
That's completely true.
All right, here's the one that I wanna shoot for.
Yeah.
Which is, I think I found the most possible ways of Brick Road making a crack fall off of that house. I was just like, okay, I see what's going on here. And without breaking character, I think I found the most things that I could make him go, okay, fine. Yeah, alright, the fire's just freaking out now, sure.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that all of them?
That's it.
I think that's all of them.
That's it.
Only got 4.
Oh.
Sorry, Birdie, I'm sure you'll get badass next week.
It's fine. Personally, I would have given intangibles to McDohl for falling into the pit twice.
I'm stretching.
Don't do that.
I'm doing it. You gotta stretch before you stretch, and then once you stretch afterwards, you have to have a post-stretch stretch, or else you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
I heard somebody rubbing their hands together.
we give one blip away from creativity. Who had the most creative solution to a problem this week?
I mean, that sled would have been really convenient as soon as the snows came to fix that.
Chat was musing about, like, are they really going to let him get to winter? Does he... So,
Yeah. No, I mean
we're,
that was a pretty good opening scene. Not gonna lie, that was a really good
we're giving
cold open.
we're giving red or we're giving a blip for red sled.
Yeah.
Okay. We
Sled
give
of red.
one blip for the assist. Who furthered the party's goals the most this week?
That we voted on Raazu for being the first to kind of break out of the glamour.
Give one blip for being the badass. Who is the biggest badass?
Adrex, because he got laid.
One blip for intangibles.
Love
I
to
grabbed-
Nodal explain that.
I grabbed that for all the many and various ways I made you make a crack up here in that house.
So, the idea was that anytime, like, your previous memories and your current memories were, like, in conflict, I was making a check to see whether something else broke, and every time Nodal said something, I rolled low. So a bunch of them slipped by him. But he's right, there were a few of them. I had to roll more for him than anybody else.
I figured that's what the cracks were. Is once there was a crack would have appeared.
All right, here's what I awarded this week. I'm awarding one blip to everybody for destroying the house before something bad happened, because if you had taken much longer than a week or so, something bad was going to happen. Raazu,
Hey.
your bond is a sword arm is only the beginning of a greater world, but it is a necessary first step. I'm giving you that blip for meeting Belataka's challenge. And your aspect is fury. When your anger is roused, you have trouble thinking straight, and you fear you might do something you regret, like marching out into the dark woods without any equipment.
And then also coming back and punching Adrex straight in the face. That's what I was going to. That's what I was going to line with.
Do you have any other ones you want to make an argument for real quick?
No.
Okay. Vindy, your bond, our world, our place in the world, is to take apart what isn't working and make something that is. I'm awarding you your bond because you're just kind of going along with the flow in the Feywild. What we did in our world is what won't work here. Let's figure out what this place is like and then try to work within its rule set. Do you have anything else you want to make an argument for?
I want to make an argument for, wait, how does this work? Because the reason why I was trying to make all the breaks in the house while staying in character, because in my mind, that's Wendy's inherent, like, trying to figure out what's going on, while also being acted upon by the spell. So I was doing my best to, like, not have any blatant, like, oh, well, I'm just going to cast a spell.
Okay.
while still fucking with it as much as I could.
Now, to be clear about what is mechanically is and isn't allowed,
Yeah.
everybody but Red still has access to their spells, their cantrips that they have. Windy, you effectively have a fly speed of 0. Birdie, you have no dark vision. And Red, you do not have access to your message spell. Other than that, all of your racial and class features are intact. You still have your weapons, you still have your magic items. The only things you lost were your silver pieces and your weapons made out of silver. Adrex, I'm definitely giving you your flaw. That sounds like a great idea. Hey, Dragon Man, want to come back to my room? You big handsome devil, you? And maybe get charmed a little bit?
Yeah, after our first failed charmed attempt.
I'm also going to retroactively award that blip to Keelian for the same reason.
I'm not even trying this time. Not even trying. This is the 3rd campaign in a row where my character gets laid.
I mean, characters should be getting laid in every campaign, shouldn't he? Do you want to make any other arguments for anything else?
That elf's into some weird shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, yeah, for once she wants to sleep with a Dragonborn. That's already pretty weird.
That's what I'm saying. You look at that thing and you're just like, yeah, I could bang that.
Nothing else?
Yeah, nothing else. I can't shoehorn in my ideal.
Birdie, your flaw is setting traps are a great idea, even when inappropriate. I'm definitely awarding a blip for digging pits all over your house.
Okay,
That we proceeded to stumble into anyway.
if I had had my way, I would have given the intangible to McDohl for falling into the hole twice. But I got outvoted, so.
You want to make an argument for any of your other traits?
Yes, focusing on the little things. I stopped Adrex from breathing, using his breath weapon in front of the Dragon Slayer, who said that who very clearly said that only dragons who can breathe things are worth killing.
Okay. What terrible thing do you think you stopped by doing that?
Oh, he knows.
Okay, anything else?
No.
It was a good stop.
I almost let it go through just because I think it would have been
Oh,
funny.
that would have been funny, yeah. I got stat blocks for some of these NPCs.
Yeah.
Red, I got your ideal as cold hard logic. Will not suffer to argue others who are motivated by things as fleeting as emotion. I'm awarding you this blip because of that awesome scene. Is this anger? Is this what anger feels like? Is this what I've been doing to you guys? I enjoyed that one. Do you want to make a case for anything else?
No, I pretty much actively worked against my character as long as I could.
I thought it was very interesting how some of you decided to work against your character and some of you decided to stay inside of it, and that was a very interesting scene for me. All right. Let's
No,
look
it was
at
a lot of fun.
Look at ours. In retrospect, I really should have got like a 80s sitcom soundboard.
Well,
You could have tried, but we've been sued by Volition.
Adrex is taking our
Twice that
straw
way.
poll this week, probably because you got late again. I mean,
That's how I always get it. That's how I always get it. I get my character played.
so
Easy.
Raazu, bond aspects, the assists, and burning the house. You're taking 4 blips this week.
Sure. How much are they worth?
Blips are currently worth 250.
250. Got it.
Windy.
I think I have to replace 2 blips.
Yeah,
You're
you got
taking your bond, your flaw, the intangibles, and breaking the house. That's 4 for Windy. Adrex is taking flaw, badass, straw pull, and the house. That's 4 for Adrex. Birdie is taking bond, flaw, and burning the house. That's 3 for Birdie. And then Red is taking his ideal, creative, and burning the house. That's 3 for Red. And I have no encounter XP this session. There was no combat. First session of the campaign with no combat. Interesting.
First session of the campaign, we didn't all level.
No, it's the second one. There was one we.
Sorry, how much were blips?
250.
250.
It doesn't feel that way, does it?
Okay.
We had 2 adventures at level 4, 2 sessions.
Man, level 6 is far away, yo.
We'll see about getting you guys into some crazy Feywild fights next session. So yeah, welcome to the Feywild. This is... I basically found a couple of Feywild modules that I liked, and I started smooshing them together to come up with some of this nonsense. So, we'll finish off the session. I'll just reiterate what's on everybody's plate at the moment. So you guys have something to think about this week as you go forth out into this wonderful, wonderful hedge maze. You've got Princess Dandelion, who is my favorite NPC ever. You've got the seductress of her court, Lurvana, who has charmed your Dragonborn.
Yep.
The Ranger Belataka, whose challenge Raazu has accepted. You threw rocks at a sprite, which was probably a great idea. Branch Lord the Dragon Slayer. And Severus, the elven investor who's looking to rob some giants. And then back at home, in your big forest, you've learned about the hill giants, the Bitch Lord Taglith.
You're saying bitch lord, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, B-I-T-C-H. Okay.
Did you think it was Fitch Lord? Do you think he just had a bunch of birds?
Witch lord, maybe. But
Could've been.
No, you're saying
It's a hill
bitch.
giant. That's probably its name.
Could be Ditch Lord. Alright, so we'll see everybody next week for some more Feywild. Next Sunday. Which is... It's Easter Sunday, is it not? Because it wasn't this Sunday.
Oh, is it?
Do I have everybody for Easter Sunday, or you guys have other stuff to do?
I'm here.
I'm like 95%. I'm sure I'm here, but I'll have to double check.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need to make sure.
Yeah, just let me know during the week. And if it turns out that we are not playing on Easter Sunday, I don't celebrate Easter, so I'll just do something else on the channel. We'll do some...
If I don't send you
tabletop.
if I don't send you a message, assume I'm going to be here.
I will, yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Same
out of coincidence, it'll be the April 1st that day.
Jesus Fool's Day.
That'll be a great session to have on April 1st. The wacky Feywild adventure. That's really good timing on my part.
Turns out I wasn't dead after all. Surprise.
We'll just say I planned that. And the YouTube channel is almost up to date. I think
Caught up.
I just put up session 4 of Flumph of the Wild, which means I've just got... This is 6.
Right?
This was 6.
Okay.
So it's almost caught up. It's almost good to go. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks as always for playing.
All right, it's great times. Great times. Can't wait till next week.
See you next week. Peace out.